Check, check, check. Can you hear me now? Hello, hello, hello. Yes, no. Good sound. No? Awesome. Just turn my level a little bit. I got no secondary camera, no bare bones right now. I'm just gonna buzz to the pick out what I need. Take them back real fast. Is it two? All the rigs are here. Nice to see everybody. Nice to see everybody. I'm trying to control everything through the OBS software, so we'll see how this goes. And not open an extra YouTube window. We'll see if it works or not. Let me just light it a little closer to me. So I'm trying to minimize the stuff I have open. Because as soon as I get the knack of I've been playing around with the software as far as being able to transition different windows and maybe start bringing some animations into the stream. So we'll see how that goes. There's no official instruction booklet on how to run this stuff. You just got to experiment. Learning curve is pretty steep. So, I mean, I'm just buzzing through. If I see an obvious error, like that massive die chip right there, I'll pull it out. But pretty much just looking for W quarters. We're checking these Mary Edwards quarters for the double die. Yep, you're blue. And I assume Box made it there, New Marshall town. That's probably what the email was about. It should have made it to you by now. Ugh, golly, man, that's gotta hurt. Sorry to hear that, but that sucks. What's my music off on me now? Too? Oh, there it is. That sucks. So on these Pepsi Pink, I've been finding a lot of closer to you there. Been finding a lot of die chips right here on her elbow. So if you start seeing these quarters, I didn't put them in there. Oh, you want some nickel rolls? Yeah, I'll read it when I get back from the bank. Was I supposed to give you nickel rolls in that box too, New Marshall? I don't remember. I was packing that box really late, trying to get some orders out. Jeff Scott knows ahead. You know, what's up, man? You doing all right? My name is Jeff. I don't know what movie that clips from. I've seen it. I just offhand can't remember which movie it was. And obviously looking for the spinning horse on the Delaware. On these San Antonio missions ones, you want to look for die chips on the ends of all the four ends of the cross. Look for die chips here on the bell tower, and die chips right here on the edge of the waves. And then obviously the Harper's Ferry one, you'll find die chips here at the top of the. Let me get back here some. Die chips in the top of the tower, on this front-facing wall right here, in this back corner, and then you have the doubling of the windows on this first bay. That's good. Glad you stopped by, man. Figure out a search quarters. I'll do a little pop-up. I'll search them one way or the other. So I'll take these and I'll pop them to the side and then look at them with a magnifier. After I go through them real fast, I usually just go through them once real quick, and anything that I was going to give a second look at, I'll put to the side. So I usually throw all these to the side because you can't see the doubling without magnification on those. Right on there. Let me turn the music down on my. No, not sure. Turn my music down, my voice up. Hopefully that'll be a little bit better. Let's see. I got the David Carlisle. What's up, man? 2009 quarters. When I come across them, I save them because they're territories. They're not really state quarters, and they're not park quarters. So I usually just those and get them finished. Anything that's got a good, nice coppery shine to it on the edge, I'll set those to the side and give them a second look as well. See if they're worth putting in a book. Yeah, right there. See that one's, I can see the crack there with my naked eyes. I can see the crack on that coming from her elbow. Big dummy. Oh, man. Just doing a quick search. I already had a couple of these rolls done. I got about another half box or so to do, and take them from the bank. All bicentennial. I save every single bicentennial quarter I find, and then I put them in rolls. Separate better ones. I sell like rolls and higher end rolls. Condition of the coin. So I've saved every bicentennial quarter ever since I've started looking at coins that I've ever found. Started selling them a couple years back. Didn't think they sell, but they actually sell. You gotta go through a lot of quarters to actually end up with rolls of them. Thought that was In God We Rust. On the 2016 Roosevelt, you'll up here between his hat and the inner ring, die chip in the horse nostril, die chips on his cuff, right on the I guess it's a holster or something here on the back of his leg. That's where you'll find those. You want to look at the back of the Samoa quarter for strike through grease. Every now and then you'll come across that hat. Had to strike through on the reverse. And it was first like $100 coin. Not anymore, but it was at one point. Bessie Coleman looking for die chips on the plane, die chips on the glove, and doubling of the initials here in the bottom. The Maryland, I just saw one. The Maryland State Quarter on the obverse. You look for machine doubling on In God We Trust. The Alaska quarter, look for die chip on the claw. Oh yeah, there's die chips everywhere. Die chips everywhere. Uh, this Homestead quarter, there are, I want to say, like 180 different variations of recognized die chips and errors just on that one quarter. On the Weir Farm, look for die chips right here on his little painting up here in the top corner. Sometimes there's doubling. Words right here in art. Just seed finger lines there. I've found them where they had feet finger lines up here in the field areas behind the building. And I've also seen a die chip in the tree. Yeah, when I first come out, I'll set them all on. I got little trays that I made up. I'll put an entire roll, all obverse facing up, and then all reverse facing up. And I'll sit and just, that's the way you can pick out those die chips pretty easy. Because if you're looking at the same coin over and over and over and over, the die chips will start, they'll just kind of pop out and you'll see them. Because I found a lot of these errors before they were even public that people, you could go on. And, errors were, like something like the South Carolina quarter, they made hundreds of millions of these. So you find an error on these, it's not worth anything. It's not even worth saving. Unless it's just for your own collection. I mean, like that Alaska quarter error. Pretty much almost every single one of them has an error on it. Michael Wells, so searching, man. Nothing. You guys want me to zoom a little bit? I bet you can see what the fingers are doing better. A little bit. See where my hands are. On the Mount Rushmore, you want to look for die chips right here between the head and the inner ring. There'll be a die chip right there sometimes. This quarter here is one of the lowest minted in the modern quarters. The El Yunque, I think it was like only 22 million. So you ever see those, pull them out. They're worth a couple bucks just as is without, being fancy. This is the new Celia Cruz quarter. I have a die chip on the bottom of that little cent symbol right there. It's the only error I found on it so far. And if anybody wants a roll, uncirculated roll of those, before I take them back to the bank, I'll charge base value plus $5 shipping. Unless I pay a package, which I owe a lot of you packages, and it's $3 shipping. So let me know, because they'll be going back to the bank this week. If anybody out there collects rolls. There's so many errors on the Kanaka Ole quarter that, I found chips on both sides of the nose, in the mountain, still lettering, die chip on the mouth, on the nose, and then the high dollar error is the die clash, where the letters from her name can be seen up in the hair up here. I have not found one of those yet. Looking for them, but haven't found one. crossing the die chips on the hat up here, die clash in front of the face, die chips in the lettering here, feed finger lines under the arm, die chip on the back of the head, and chip here at the ponytail, and then sometimes feed finger lines that go front of the neck, behind him, and then the back of the neck. So when I pick them up, I just roll it real quick. That's where I'm looking, right there at the hat in the face. Sally Ride, feed finger lines right here at the shoulder, die clash under the chin, die clash by the ear, chip at the mouth, nose, strike here and there. What's up, Wolf Metal Stacking? Maya Angelou, chip the nose, the mouth, strike through grease, hair, doubling of the earring. You need a magnifier for that. Feed for line at the bottom. What else we got here? Then any of them, in general, the state quarters, strike through grease anywhere in the field. You'll see a lot of strike through grease on like the which one is it? Wyoming, the 2005 P Minnesota, the third tree over. There's over 100 different varieties of the doubling on the tree. And believe it or not, there's a couple registry set people, you know, that high-end collectors, they have all 100 variations of that air in their collection. You can go on PCGS.com and just kind of click and look at those registry sets. It's unbelievable how extensive these guys and ladies collect coins. I mean, every single variety, every single mint mark, everything. And they have they search out for the highest known grade for each one of those airs. A lot of money. A lot of money and time. I bet some of them actually have people just working for them that go find all of those coins. Man, you spend a lifetime looking for all stuff. It's pretty decent looking event, but a lot of money. Of course, looking for W quarters on 2019 and 2020. Salt River Bay. It's got a DDO. It has a known DDO on the mint mark. There's known doubling on the initials down here at bottom left and right, and feed finger line air that you can see lines going behind the tree diagonally this way. I've seen those where the entire back behind the tree was covered feed finger lines, but more often than not, you'll see it just here on this ledge. I usually find a couple of them per box. They're pretty common error. The 2018 Voyagers. These are all Philly coins I'm talking about, unless I say differently. But you want to look, sometimes you see like a massive die chip on the duck. It's really easy to pick out. You just kind of roll the coin and you'll just see a big ass lump right there. This is, yeah, the Wisconsin or Washington state usually has a lot of strike through grease airs, obverse and reverse. Tito, just doing a quick run through a quarter box and just kind of telling you what to look for as far as airs. Javita Idar, you want to look under the bust, probably from halfway point forward. I've seen die cracks anywhere along from here to here, going up into the neck. I found a couple tonight that started here, went all the way up almost to the chin. I kept that one. This was one of the larger cracks I've found. Roosevelt one. Feed finger lines behind the scale. Die chips up here by the bow. A die crack coming from this top edge here at the word of, all the way down into the hat and into her face. This is the most extreme I've seen. Right there. No return, W right there. That's what I'm looking for. And that one's bare. I mean, you could barely make out the W. And that's kind of worn. Seen some circulation. That's a W quarter. $10 coin right there. With the wear, I mean, you get them that look more mint state. They're not really mint state anymore. They've been in circulation too long. But back when I was finding them in 2019 and 2020, you pulled those out of the boxes. They were mint state condition coins. Cool, got a W. I may just trade this box in when I go to the bank, see if they can get another one. I got before you, so I got time. Banks used to stay open later. Maryland, you want to look for machine doubling. That one's probably has it, but I don't see my magnifier in reach. I think it's downstairs. On the effigy mounds, it's known for doubling, incuse doubling. Right here on the N and the D of the mounds. Look there. I've seen some real extreme cases where these mounds have actually shifted on the coin, and you'll see kind of like smear marks where they're being made with worn out dies. Hoping to find like a strike dude. On the Idaho's known for strike real bad too. Like all over here in the field. Some of them have actually gone into the eagle or falcon or whatever it is. The Rockefeller, Billings Rockefeller. I've seen feed finger lines, die chips on the elbow, die chips in the hair, some machine doubling. But these are, this one kind of has it. The coin was cleaner, but you'll kind of see just kind of like a faint halo. That's where they made coins and didn't switch out the dies. The dies are so worn out. You see the flow lines of the metal. That's what kind of creates that halo effect. I don't know. Kind of has it a little bit. I mean, you can see the mint luster, but it just kind of looks smeared. That's what causes that. The die attrition. American Samoa, 2009. I'll save it. The local quarter, look for die chips anywhere in or on the bell tower. I mean, I've seen them inside. I've seen them down the side of the building here. And then you want to check the perimeter of this little wheel. I've seen chips here, here, and here on it. Man killer, I mean, the list. Chips on the nose. This one actually has a crack at the mouth. I can see it. Cracks in the mouth, in front of the mouth. Feed finger lines going all the way across that it looks like lasers are coming out of the eye. I should pull out my collection one time to show you how many errors are on this quarter. Die chip here, die chip and the hair at the top. The major error is the double die break, where the obverse and reverse die both had a catastrophic failure. Crack goes from here all the way across the coin, separate two pieces, and then the obverse, it's cracked from here all the way across the whole top part of the coin. It's all a retained cut. You can see a complete split, but both pieces are still there. That coin, first discovered, sold for $1,000 per coin. Decent quarter there, nice toning. Zip. Yeah, maybe one day I'll do that. I got sheets of just various errors of that coin. And when that major error was, they found out that the coin was from the Atlanta area. That's where I live. I was selling rolls for $4 a piece. Unopened rolls. People looking for that error. Yeah, I'll probably get my chance to find them. As I sell them, they're buying them. That's good question there. For affiliate. Nebraska, or Nevada, sorry. Back here in the leg of the horse, die chip, divine. What else we got here? Sitting horse. For 2013. Cumberland. No, actually I had one. Up on a wing. Right there. I mean, I'll put together a couple of these and do a giveaway. Hold on, I'm gonna get an envelope. I can do a giveaway. Fire up the chat bot. Envelopes. I'll just set it aside for right now. Like I said, it was a pop-up. I was unprepared. I'll set a couple of these errors to the side and just give them away at the end. So I'll get an error back. The Cumberland Gap quarter. You want to look for a die chip between the top of her hat and this inner ring. That's pretty much the only error I found on that one. The 2017. On this one, you want to look for die chips in a building, on a roof line there. I found a die chip on his shoulder before, over here by his pocket. Another, I already talked about her. Already talked about that one. And obviously you're looking for, you know, estimate quarters as well while you're going through them. They kind of pop up. Walker Magnet, hello sir, how are you? Doing a quick run through quarters. I'm gonna see if I can get to the bank and maybe swap it out for another box. I'm thinking I may do a may do a whole live stream just all the errors that I found in this one and the that one and this one. These are both the Kanaka Ole and the Man Killer quarters are just loaded with die chip errors and feed finger errors. Maria Tall Chief quarter. Look for a die chip in her ponytail. I've already found a W quarter for no return. I like it behind those. Nice little bonus. It's like a little reward for searching. Always on that. I figured I could see what time we're going on because I wanted to squeeze something in before you went on. I figured I was like, okay, he's probably not streaming. I don't see anything scheduled. This little cold snap in the weather down here in the south kind of got a lot of people. A lot of guys at work, you know, sniffling and coughing, and the Bombay hook quarter. I've found die chips on the back of the neck, the front of the neck. Also found a little die chip there on the beak. The 2017 George Rogers Clark. Look for die chips on the hat, on the front guy hat, and then this guy that's holding the rifle up in the air. I found die chips all along the top of that rifle. Obviously, Patsy Mink, like I said, look at the elbow. Sometimes there'll be a crack going all the way down the back of her arm. Sometimes just coming down the forearm. But they all lead right here to the elbow, a die chip or a crack. Tuskegee, little die chips on top of the goggles. A lot of times it'll be maybe just a little hairline crack coming off the top there. The error on this one, they called it the burning building. It was a big pot of grease, and where it was sitting looked like the building was on fire and smoke was coming out of the building. Those sold for about $100 when they were first. Not a bad looking quarter, D quarter there. Ozark Riverways. Look for in the little Y of the tree branches right up here at the top. Look for a chip there. Chip down here at the bottom of the tree. Chip over here. This is where I found in the past. And then just your regular Washington quarters. I mean, if you got time and you're not going through them, you look for a spitting eagle that they call. There'll be a die crack coming right from the edge of the beak, kind of going straight down to the wing. There'll be a crack. I've seen cracks anywhere under the word unum, going like all the way across. The older ones back in the 60s, early 60s, 50s, had a crack coming right off the tip of the wing, coming down to this outer edge. Seen that crack go from here all the way up through United, up to the States. Same on this side, I've seen the crack come all the way down. You'll see a lot of machine doubling in pluribus unum, and you also find if you got a good loop you'd have to look, and you see doubling in these leaves here. Also, I've seen die cracks come from these leaves down through in either word quarter or dollar coming down through there. You just have to look at them close enough. The one down here on the bottom, this left side, usually if you tilt the quarter right, you can see that one with your naked eye, and you can see the spitting eagle one with your naked eye. If you get the lighting just the Block Island quarter, look for a die chip. He's got one little like feather that spurs off the top. It'd be between that feather and his back. There'll be a little blotch there. And sometimes you'll see some right here in the tail feathers. The anime long quarter, look for die chips anywhere here on the fingertips, the finger there, or where the hand meets this flat line. Sometimes here, sometimes here. Small die chips in the lettering, you'll find sometimes too. I already talked about that one. It has a on the obverse. Look on the upper cheek. There'll be a dot chip. Sometimes, on all women's orders, you want to look at the nose and the mouth. It's pretty common. Dye chip. Pretty common there. I think I have at least one of every single women's quarter. It's got a dye chip on the nose. I'm Juan. How are you? All right. Wisconsin. I haven't found one yet. Maybe one day I will. But they got what they call a high leaf and low leaf. Extra leaf, so you get your main leaf off the corner there. Got two versions, one with a higher second leaf and a lower second leaf. I have not. They think somebody at the Mint did this. The demon, but they were released in Oklahoma, Texas. But I have not found not yet. I'll look through another quarter. I'll find one day. They all could have knocked out of the 2015 Saratoga. Want to look for a die chip between the fingertip and the handle of the sword right there. Chip. And these also are common. I was talking about with the round dies. That's another one. Overused dies. Oklahoma, die chips in these flowers. Pretty common. That's pretty nice 2010. It's amazing, quarter that old, still looks good. So that one's got the start. I can see the beginning right there. Hasn't formed yet, but I can see the little kind of squiggly line. The Hawaii quarter, I found die chips at the bottom of the robe. The Connecticut quarter, I found die chips coming from the bottom of the tree, going all the way out to the edge. So 20 on those. Nebraska side chip up here on top of this little mountain peak. You'll find them. Damn, there's a toned 2021. Pretty nice looking Billy. Look on the camera and look for Dutch. Up 76. Like I said, the homestead. Bottom, look at bottom of the well, anywhere on these two plants. Top of the roof line, over the window, over the door, pump handle. It's got hundreds. Everybody should probably have some sort of variation in their collection because it's that common. Alright. We got about more rolls or so. We can search the strap too while we're at it. Why not? Take it all back to the bank today. I like it when they're all facing the right way. Found a bunch of star notes yesterday. I searched like $700 or $800 yesterday, loaded with them. I haven't found that many star notes in a very long time. Back when I first look at, there's an older one right there, 2013. Yeah, back when I first started searching bills, I'd find 2, 3, 4 star notes per strap. Not anymore. Everybody's looking at them. Take a look at the strap, see what we got. I'm running out of uncirculated notes to do my note bills and bow ties. The bank that I get them from, that she didn't have it anymore. I was like, oh, that sucks. Here we go. All right, what we got here? Good. I'm looking for older notes or really good numbers. I pretty much have all the ones people generally collect. Star note right there. Cool. We'll check that out on my currency collector in a minute. You want to, I know I go fast, but you want to try to look at both sets of numbers. Sometimes they'll be mismatched. Those are worth money. So when I'm flipping it, glancing there, look at that, and then the overall condition of the note. Looking for note. Anything crazy. We call it the ink here. See how the 8 darker? Some people collect them. Probably just give you that one. Sorry. Yeah. Nothing. Nope. One card note. We'll look that up. See what it is. Go up another window. Star note lookup. Right. Get you guys on that page. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't have any of this stuff set up yet. Really didn't plan on streaming, but so why not? Alright, so you ain't gonna let me do it. There we go. Alright. So we are looking for 2017. Okay. It's just a regular note. So you got 3,200 printed, or 3,200, 3.2 million in that run. Pretty common. Nothing special about it. Just a star note. Boo. I'll give it away. We'll give it away. Let's go over to our Nightbot. Keyword will be star. Come on. Here we go. Anyway. chat. Cooperate. There we go. All right, keyword. We're gonna do star. Everybody eligible. Keyword will be star. All right, it's collecting names. Star is keyword. Got 2 entries so far. Pretty good odds of winning. 3. We'll give away that star note. Hey, there's my loop. Yeah, now that I've got that desktop downstairs set up to stream and everything. I don't have, I got the software all set up. I don't have this software set up right. So we're on that comment picker. There you go. Let's see. Yeah, you can see me still right there. All right. Yeah. Let me cut the tops off of these, and I'll do the star note and that error quarter, and I'll pick another error quarter out. Star note and 2 error quarters. While I cut the tops off. And it's 12 o'clock. I still got time. Yeah, the bank I've been taking my coins to, they a couple weeks ago, they tried telling me I could no longer return coins there, and I was like, I've been bringing y'all coins for the past 5 years, and just now all of a sudden I can't bring them. So I had to go to a different branch for a while, let the situation cool down a little bit. Yeah, the one time I did abuse it, I took 13 boxes back one time. They were probably a little mad about it. I didn't do that anymore. And I finally got one of my other banks to actually let me take it back in bags. So that's really nice. I don't have to roll those. Rolling them takes half the time. Searching them. I mean, so we got 13 entries. All right. Get ready to give this away. Oh, 2 error quarters. With these. All right. Good luck, everybody. Here we go. Moon. Is Moon? You entered Moon? Type star in chat if Moon's still here. Anybody that hasn't typed something in, I'm giving it away. Here we go. Fleabag. Put that in your envelope, sir. That, I'm going to pick you another error quarter out of the top there. Congratulations. Fleabag. Those are going to you, Vane. Congrats, Fleabag. Let's tear out the rest of these rolls. I don't know which other air I'll grab you, but it'll be that Cumberland and one of the other ones. Congrats to you, buddy. Alright, go. Yeah, it doesn't bother me to search them in a pile. You know, like some of the guys you watch stream that they got have every single one of them in a nice little line and searching them one. That's too slow for me. I got too many of them to look at to go that slow. I'm a star note. I used to sell them all the time in like, you know, anywhere from 10 to 50 packs. And when I got that news, you know, when I read the news, what was it, like a year and a half, 2 years ago, said they're going to start phasing them out this year. I was like, I better stop selling them, just in case they become a rarity and might be worth a little more than they are. So as soon as like that news became like really public and the general public started finding out about it, yeah, they went from like $1.25 a piece, $3 or $4 each. So, and if you're one of the lucky ones that actually has a full strap of star notes, yeah, those are valuable. I've looked at them. I'm not going to pay that much. I'm too frugal to. It's kind of overinflated just to have a strap of $100 sitting around doing nothing. I'd rather make the money work for me a little more than just sitting there. So yeah, looking for the die chip on the hat right there. It's not there. And like I said, in the Kansas, the In God We Rust quarter is what it's known for. Is the T, sometimes the G and the R, grease filled the die, so when the die hit the coin, no metal could flow up into the recess to make the lettering, so it was gone. That's all they called it, In God We Rust. The Apostle Island quarter, tons of die chips all along the top of this ridge line. Sometimes in this secondary ridge, over here on the lighthouse, and then the kayaker, his right arm that sticks out, there'll be a big die chip underneath the arm. Where you'll find those. The 2020 tall grass, the moth or butterfly, whatever it is, has two wings, has the upper and the lower wing. The line of the lower wing, you want to look on top of it. There'll be die chips here. I've seen die chips on the top wing right there. Right around the head area I've seen die chips, and in the body I've seen die chips. It's just, you know, looking at a bunch of them to see. So what, like that homestead quarter, I always look at the bottom, top of the building, and the window. See if there's any chips. And as you see, I set the Maya Angelou's I set to the side, so I look at all those after I've gone through them. Get all the same quarter together and just look at all of them at one time for the same error, instead of looking at each individual one as you're going through. The 2013 Fort McHenry has die chip on a flag, and anywhere here in the fireworks, it's known to have die chips. Oh, and also on the Parks quarters, you'll notice that the inner ring goes all the way around till it hits the bottom. And then the bottom here, it's got one little flat section. So as you're flipping the quarter over, you want to look. Sometimes this inner ring will continue and run down and be a complete circle. That's an error. See, this one has the flat spot on it. You just want to look for that extra runaround. So when I'm looking at every single part quarter, I'm eyeballing that real fast too, just to see if there's another little line underneath. Hey, Shobo. So your 2008 P like I said, the Alaska, I'd almost guarantee 80% of them have the extra claw air, which it does. That one's got the extra claw air. There's your second one there, flea bag. Massachusetts, same as the Maryland quarter. Look for machine doubling on the In God We Trust, and look for machine doubling. Find out on those. Here's an S quarter. Tallgrass 2020S, nice. I had a box, I think it was like 2 years ago. It was just chocked full of brand new Mint State S quarters from a whole bunch of different parks. After I separated everything out in the box, I ended up with 16 rolls of brand new S quarters. It was an unbelievable box. Unbelievable. I put them all in tubes and tucked them away. I was like, are you kidding me? Every single one of them I'd open up. Another one, another one. Yeah, a lot of these I'll just let pass by. I got so many of the ones with the crack at the elbow. I don't need any more of them. I've been selling them, trying to give them away. Like I said, this Celia Cruz. Look right there on the 25 cents, the little cent. Right there on the bottom of it, I found a die chip. It's the only one I've found so far on that one. But like I said, I got a whole box. I'm taking back. I'm not even going to look at them. I only need a roll or so. No, get something wrong with that. Chicken Man Dan, hello. Hope y'all are doing well this afternoon. Or I assume you live in the East Coast area. If not, good morning. Just doing a quick run through these orders, take them back to the bank, see if I can get some more. If they give me another box, I'll have another box. Maybe I can, I don't know if, y'all know if Rick's not streaming tonight. If he's not, I may come back on. Get another box. Search them a little slower so I give everybody a chance to see what I'm actually looking for. So like generally, when I'm sitting there and I know I'm looking for an error, if I was going through them really fast, just all these that I know more than 50% of the time have an error, I would toss them to the side, and then I'd go through it a second time of these quarters a lot individually, and then just grab that one stack, look at all of them, grab the next stack, look at all of them. It's just, I think it's easier for your brain and your eyes if you're looking at the same quarter. You got them all laid out instead of like changing your train of thought every single quarter you pick up. But a lot of these, the die chips are so big, all you gotta do is roll the quarter a little bit and the light will reflect off of it different. Good. Glad you're doing well, healthy. Boom, right there. There's the second lowest minted. Where was that first one at? I just dropped it. Oh, I'll find it again. I just dropped it. It was the Acadia quarter. I'll find it here in a sec. It dropped back down the hatch. But the Acadia and the El Yunque quarter that I showed you earlier with the parrot, that's up here in this pile somewhere. That one and the Chaco Culture, all of them are 2012. Those are the three lowest minted quarters of the American, or of the modern quarters, actually. Three lowest minted ones. I think the Chaco only had 22 million minted. 22 million for Philly and 22 for Denver. I would it'd be worth something someday, but I'm not sure. But just in case, I got rolls of them that I was able to find a couple of years back. And, you know, those that you collect, I mean, you know, keep your eyes open. And if you're out and about, hit a flea market or something, you know, you never know what people are selling. More often than not, people are selling something and they don't know what the actual worth of what they're selling is. So in that case, knowledge is power. You have the, you know, you invested the time to learn it. Get yourself a good deal. The Illinois, I've seen strike through grease on this one as well. A lot of the state quarters have grease errors. Another one of those Minnesota Oregons. Yeah, maybe I'll do that one day. Just get out, show you all the different grease errors and everything, all the boxes of errors I have. Just give you good examples of them so you can see them. Definitely that man killer quarter. I've got like albums full of all the different variations of errors I found on this quarter. And I think there was a lot of them that I found that there were several points in time on eBay. I was the only one selling certain errors. So I don't know if I was the only one that had them. Two different errors that I'd never seen anybody else selling. I don't know if I got the only box run of that error or what. But I called it the, there's the Acadia right there. That one and the one with the parrot are the two lowest in that Choco culture. But I called it the hair flip dye chip. Because it was like, you know, the girls wore their hair back in the 80s with the like front of the hair was flipped up real high. Those of us that are older than that know about the 80s. Yeah, I'll get some examples of them. That'd be a good stream just to show you all some of the weird ass errors I found. That's pretty good condition there. But yeah, when I was selling that one, I found about a half a box worth of just that error, and sold them for $3.99 a piece. So they were sold out. So that's one bonus of searching rolls of the same quarter. It takes dedication to do it. But when you find that one error nobody else has, make a little money on it. It's kind of a niche market. A lot of people don't do errors. And some people, they're all gung-ho about it. That's funny, Showbell. Yeah. You knew when all the girls were getting ready to go out, it was like a fire hazard, man. I'd go over to my girlfriend's house and like all her girlfriends would be over there and just like, man, all you smell is that hairspray. And then they'd all sit there and be smoking. I was like, come on, man. About to set the whole house on fire. So yeah, it's got a misaligned die, but it's not so far misaligned that it would be worth anything. See, because that's even, but you got a thicker border here and barely anything right there. I mean, it's not far enough out for them to be like valuable to some of the collectors I've sold to. Some of the details here actually have to be off. You can still see all the tops, all the letters. Some of those would have to be missing for it to have value in their eyes. Nice looking 95. But just because you find most of these errors on Philly, don't disregard the Denvers. You know, look at those as well. Because a Philly and Denver with the same error, same exact error on it, the Denver's more often than not, it sells for as much. For those of you that want to resell and do theirs and resell, if you find a Denver one, so sometimes I've sold them in pairs, Philly and Denver together with the same exact air. See, I don't know if it'll even show up on the camera or not, but you can see how it's kind of got like that little halo. See how it's kind of like frosty right there and right there? That's a dye that's getting to that stage of being worn out. So this little hazy area will start extending, and next thing you know, you'll have that halo in there. So right there, it's from the mint mark almost up to the Y. But it'll keep going around as, you know, millions and millions and millions of these coins. Then on the Colorado and the West Virginia, you want to look here on the edge, on this side, you'll have so a die chip that's on the edge of the coin or around the rim is called a cud. So you'll have a cud here or a cud here. On the West Virginia, it's known to have it anywhere from like the 4 o'clock to the 8 o'clock position. On this one, it's more often than not over here at the 9 o'clock. But yeah, a lot of people use the term cud wrong. They think, you know, they say, oh, it's got a cud because it's a die chip in the center. Anything in the interior is a die chip, not a cud. Cud is related to the edge of the coin. Look for a spitting horse real quick. Also, when you're looking for the spitting horse, the word state up here, I've seen grease-filled dies that it was missing, or the T, or both of them. Aqua lung. You'll look for those. Like I said, yeah, Idar. This one's got a crack. I can see it right there. Got a really large crack, actually. This crack goes from here all the way up into the neck. Maybe save that one for a giveaway at the end. It's probably got a large crack on it. But I mean, you can see that. I don't have any magnifiers on right now, and I can see that crack just rolling the coin, going straight up through there. So once you get familiar where the cracks are and stuff, you know, yeah, you need magnification for some of these coins, but it's all about the light angle, because the die chips reflect the light different. Yeah, so that hair flip die chip I was talking about, it started out as like you saw just a little crack from the top of her hair to the T in States. And as that little crack split open, it became like a little curled die chip. So it looked like a little like front poofy hair flip. That yeah, if I come back on that, I'll look for the book I have on these errors. I bet you that one's got a die chip error. Just there's another Alaska. Yep, got an error. That's the Alaska 2008. That was like when I was first started looking for errors and die chips. That was one of the first ones I found. That and a spitting horse. Like I said on this one, you also want to look in front of his face. You'll see another little like ripple. What looks like an extra nose. That'd be a die clash. There's Guam. Fort Moultrie. I've seen die between the top of his hat in this inner ring right there. I've seen it up here in the flag. I've also seen really large ones on his boot. Oh, no problem, Saul. It's stuff it's all in my brain where I've just looked at them over the years. Since you just popped in, I'll go over some that I've already have. The Rockefeller Billings Rockefeller. One is known to have just a die attrition, really worn out die that you'll have that halo. I've seen feed finger lines behind the tree going behind the hand here. I found die chips up here in her hair by the little barrette that's in her hair. And one of the more famous die chips is one on the elbow. If you search a lot of quarters, you should be able to, over time, make a die progression state of that air. Anywhere from small all the way to, I've got some that are so large it just looks like a rock or a lump right there. I even have a couple that have a double die chip that has 2 lumps on her elbow. But those are, you'd be able to see those just with your eye by rolling the quarter. In any of the state quarters that have like a wide open fields like this, like the Texas and the Idaho, you want to look for that grease air, because the grease airs will show up real easy in these large open field areas. Block Island die chip there at the top, feather. I'll pull out some of these too. There's one die chip on this. They call it the crown die chip. It's a die chip that's his entire top of his hat that goes all the way up into the word E pluribus. That's like the most advanced die state of that one. When that air was out, looks like it's kind of got a started one. No. When that air was discovered, the big one, those were selling. I think the top I saw for those were like 80, 90 bucks for 1 quarter. Insane, but that's, you gotta on selling air quarters, you gotta be like right on the edge of the market, because it's 1 week after it's out, the air is out, because everybody wants to be the first one to have it. So give it like a or so, and then once people really want it, have it, then the price starts dropping pretty quick. Yeah, I've got the strike through grease on it. Just barely, it's starting right there. But this strike through, it'll I've seen them go this entire area just be one big blob from grease. This one, dang, that quarter's in pretty good condition. Never meant, but the Shawnee quarter, look for a die chip on the top of this big rock right there. It's pretty decent shape. So even though I have like full complete sets, I still set aside real nice examples of whatever quarter it is. As I got secondary tubes of all of them, just I sell to people or anybody looking for a certain coin. Nice Denver. The bat quarter, the famous bat quarter, the COVID quarter, they want to call it. The small bat, the ear over here on the left side, you want to look for strike through grease errors. This one has a famous error that's like a big strike through grease blob that goes pretty much 3/4 of the way across the coin. I've only found like 2 or 3 of those, but it covers the whole center section of the quarter, wipes it all out. This one, you almost start to see the halo on the back side of the quarter, right? I don't know if you can see it now. You can't see it. But yeah, the Salt River Bay and the Billings Rockefeller. I don't have my red book up here, or I did. But yeah, they made millions and millions and hundreds of millions of those quarters. So the dies had to be worn out. I mean, they were just, at a time when they said we were in the coin shortage, and they were pumping out 300-400 million of these quarters. And we're in a shortage. And when that shortage came on, the week before, I was at the bank and I picked up 9 boxes of coins, $half, just everything, a pyramid of coins. I go the next week, they wouldn't let me have one. I was like, what happened? Oh, coin shortage. I was like, come on. Coin shortage. So for like the next year and a half, the only way I could get boxes of coins was to trade a box in. So I had to get a box, trade a box for, I don't know, 2 years. But everybody else I knew wasn't even able to get rolls. So I guess I should have considered myself lucky. Trade a box program. And I had to deal and deal with the head teller at the bank to let me even do that. And then the couple of times I did order $half, she made me promise not to bring them back to her bank. So that's the only way I get halves, and I just stopped. I don't even deal with $half anymore. I got a box one time that every single roll that I popped coins out of, they were all facing the same direction except for the 76. Yep, exactly. All the 1976 $half were facing the opposite direction. Someone had gone through all the rolls and then tried to rewrap the paper, but put it upside down so if you open the box, it looked like they were new rolls. And I told the bank lady, I said, I'm not even fooling with it anymore. Chickasaw, 2011. But if you have a red book, go look at the vintages of 09, 10, 11, and 12. And you'll see, wow, what's up with that one, huh? That's funky. I'd say that's environmental. Some of the, I believe it was the 2000s or the 99s. Yeah, 99s. I'll set this aside anyway, but some of the 99s were struck with experimental planchets that were kind of the same metal as the small dollar, the Sacagawea dollar. So you want to keep an eye out for that. I'm not saying that's one of them, but they did strike them on experimental planchets to put them in circulation. It wasn't a one-off type thing. So keep your eye out for those if they just kind of look off-colored. And whenever you're going through coins, you've got to, if something in your brain's questioning what that coin is, you don't have to make a decision on it right then. Set it to the side. Then do a little investigative work. Find out. You might be sitting on something that's worth a lot of money. We got a lot of people in this community that have a lot of knowledge that you can lean on. Yeah, see, that's got some of the diatrician halo right there. It's a 2019, like I said. But yeah, look for your die chips anywhere around this bell tower or around that wheel. That's where you're going to find your errors. Philly, Philly, Philly. There's another one, 2011. Gettysburg. Denver. Celia Cruz. Alright, one sec here. Give me 1 second. I gotta do something real quick. Be right back. I'm back. I'm back. Look for your errors here on top of the rifle, top of the hat. A lot of the Virginia and New Jerseys had misaligned die errors, so you want to look for an enlarged rim area on the front or back. I think it just looks kind of odd. That's pretty nice 2013. And more than, I'd say more than 90% of the points to this, after I look at them on magnification, they get all thrown back in the box. This is what I'm able to catch with my eyeball right now. Because unfortunately, I have to roll all these up before I go to the bank. The Washington, look for strike through anywhere on the bottom of the field here, under the fish. Front and back of Washington. Decent looking quarter. Yeah, it's got a little bit right there behind his head. A little bit starting. That's where you look for those errors. Oh yeah, no sweat. You gotta, I saw opportunity and I seized it. As I checked it, I was like, oh, I don't think he's streaming today, so I'm gonna pop on till I gotta go to the bank. Like I said, if Rick's not on tonight, I know he said last week that he may not be streaming tonight. Dang, look at that. There's no detail on that thing. I would say that because it's not smeared like where grease would smear it. I would say, if I had to guess, that's probably what they call an adjustment strike. So when they're adjusting the pressure that the coin is struck for the detail, I mean, that has nothing on it. Definitely set that aside and look at that under a scope. But they adjust the pressure it's struck, and sometimes, you know, they generally take these out. Sometimes they get through. I mean, that thing is almost smooth, but it's not worn. I mean, it's still got good reed details. Yeah, this one too, the Kisachi, hundreds of millions of these. 2015, tons. So I mean, it's something like that. An error on those, you didn't even bother saving because they made so many. So that's like when I go back and look at the red book and all that, I'll look at, you know, total amount minted of each coin, and you can start picking out which ones are more rare. Like when I pull out those 2012s, I know those are the lowest. Even if it has an error or not, that coin is worth more than a quarter. Any condition, because it's such a low mintage number. It's like the 2009 nickel, or soon to be 2024 nickel. It's the same situation. There was only 30 some million of those minted, and last year there was 3 or over a billion nickels, and then this year they only do 33. Don't know, but it's an instant low mintage. So if you find any 2024 nickels, save them. You'll thank me in 5 years. And if you're fortunate enough to find some rolls, go ahead and kick your boy Namaste with one of them for giving you that info. I'd appreciate it. Because those rolls are currently selling for like $80 to $100 per roll. For a roll, $2 roll of nickels. Because I knew something was up. Because generally by, I'd say, the second or third month of the year, I collect the nickels and quarters by the box. So I like to have one box of the 22 or the 20 Ds and 2023 Ps. I like to have one box of each. And so I'd say by March or April, I've already have received that box from the bank, and it was like June, July, August. I hadn't seen one. I go, something's up. So I started investigating it. I go, oh man, this could be a low mintage coin, like those 09s. But the 09s, they were selling back in when they were known as when they were low mintage, and the knowledge first got around. Those were selling, $1,000 a box. The price had come down, but yeah, I don't like just one roll. I like to have several of each. Because I got grandchildren and stuff, I can't give it all to one. You know, I've already got one set of all the American or the park quarters. I've got multiple sets of those already set aside, the state quarters, and they're already set aside for everybody. That's that one, the homestead. It's got over 100 different varieties of that one coin. You know, the well, the bucket, the door, window. Die chips everywhere on that. That actually didn't have any. But there's another one. You look for what they call snow on the roof area. It's die chips on the roof. I'm surprised I haven't found a spitting horse yet today. Oh, and spitting horse, and you want to look for doubling in the Caesar Rodney name. Known for that as well. That's damaged. Look for die chips in the tree, the roof. I've already told you about this one, the building. I think it has one. Start of one. Caves. I've only found a couple that had doubling on this lion. So I guess that's probably a rare error. Well, it looks like I found looks like I'm going to have an S and a W for this box. Unless something happens right here at the end. It's pretty good condition. Like I said earlier, look for a die chip on the front of the hat by the bow. Look for a crack from down through the hat. Feed finger lines behind the scale. And I've also found a couple, or more than a couple, but the word unum right here on the N, the U, and the M. I've seen a couple that have machine doubling right there. The Otero, or Nina Otero Warren quarter. Let's see here. Die chips in the flowers. Multiple die chips up here in the words, the motto here. And I found several with grease-filled dies on the first N of her name. N and Nina. You'll find those. Yeah, if I come back on that, I may just showcase a little display. I'm sorry. 09s and 39s. That's right. I found a 39D the other day. Were you on when I streamed the other night? And there was, oh no, I didn't show you. It was Tupac's after show. I found a nickel that has crazy lamination error, and it's like it's almost the entire like top half of the coin is just like ripped off. Now we'll all meet and hang out one day, Shellbell, and I'll share all the info. There's another Chickasaw. I was gonna go to that coin show that Walker Magnet went to last month or 2 months ago, and ended up having to get a car. So extra income went poof. Indiana. The Tuskegee, look for cracks on the goggles, die chips in the planes, strike through grease on the building, feed finger lines from the under the neck here to the back of the neck that pass through like behind his face. Oh, and when you're looking at all these too, sorry, there's another tip you can look for. It really doesn't matter which quarter it is. So like if you have a lot of them will have like the initials, the designer's initials would be here, right here at the bottom. And you'll see like this little beveled edge right here from the bottom that kind of goes up the neck. you want to look along that line, and a lot of them will have a die crack that carries on from the tip right here out towards like the Q. So when you're rolling that quarter and looking, like, you just look for that one little crack coming off there. It's indiscriminate, like which quarters that happens to. Pretty much all of them, except for like the old Washington quarters. But like the new modern ones, they all will have some sort of a crack there sometimes. The pictured rocks quarter, look for a die chip right here, and right up here in the tree, right there on the front. They're not as common, but I have found those. Like I said, Maryland quarter, front and back with the words. Look for machine doubling. The cross, all 4 points of the cross. The top of the building there, front of the waves here. But sometimes I'll do, if I have a little extra time, I'll actually stop and I'll look at more intensely. I'll look at the Washington quarters and and kind of restock up on errors. After I've given so many of them away or whatever, I'll have to restock on them. So I'll pay extra attention to those, restock what I have, and then ignore them for a while until I have to restock again. The Denali is known for die chips right behind the bull deer or whatever that is. High and low leaf on the Wisconsin. The Mary Walker Edwards, it has a double die where you'll have doubling here on the back hairline, doubling on the T and the S in cents, the 2 and the 5, and the C and the A of America. You also have some examples I've seen have doubling around the edges of this metal or star or whatever that is. And I have found one, I haven't found any more, but I have found one that has a big blotch strike through grease area right here. I have a feeling I could probably sell that one for, I bet it would go for 50 to 100. I may try it, I may list it on eBay and see what it goes for, because I have not found another one. And I've gone through 2 boxes of them. Haven't found another one, because most of the time those strike through errors, it's not a repeatable error. You could find 2 coins, 3 coins all the same with strike through, but the pattern is going to be different. It's got some nice weird toning to it. It may even have an error as well. It does not. Alright, so now that I've reached this point, I'll do a giveaway. And then I'll show you what I do for the second part of my search. Just tips and tricks. So let's give away, what am I going to give away? I'll do that Jovita Idara quarter that has that big crack right there. Let's find something else too. I'm sure there's something good in here. Maybe there's one with a chip on it. Not, I'll go to my error bucket and find one for somebody. Alright, I'll start the bot and I'll find some errors to give away. So, let's start the bot wherever he's at. There's the under comment. Yep, under paper. Alright, keyword will be error once I get it reloaded. Refresh. Error. Hey, Richard. sec. Find something over here. Nice one there. Nice. I'll look at this one I found in circulation. Click the button. Found that in circulation. 39S. And that's a beauty. That's proof. I think shiny. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and just make this OS as well and bump up the giveaway right there. 2002 Nifty strike through grease air. The strike through. I know you can't see it. Come on here. There we go. Use it this way. So if you look, so right behind the head here, there's a blotch, and then all across the front of his face is another blotch. There you go. See that dark spot? Oh, let me put it back. See that dark spot in front of his face? Then behind his head, you can barely see it. Right? That dark colored area, and then all in front of his face. That's all striped through grease. That's all that is. It's a nice coin. I'll do that as an EOS. It's a beauty. It's a beaut. And I'll throw the eye on top of it. You're not getting my 39 yet. Good luck to everybody. you need the 2002 strike through. I've got one more, so I'm keeping that one. There. Throw back there. Get your air in. I'll get an envelope. And then I gotta roll coins and go to the bank. And maybe get ready for a stream tonight. I'm not sure. We'll see. Alright, how many people we got? How many people we got? Everybody in? Let's see. We got 9 entries, only 9 people in chat. It don't matter to me. I'll give it away still. Better chances for y'all. Alright. Oh, wait, I'm on top chat over here. Bob's probably missing a whole bunch of messages. Like I said, I'm running everything through OBS right now, so it's kind of new. I'm running everything off one screen. Alright, we're going to pick it. Here we go. Good luck, everybody. 3, 2, 1, choose the winner. New Marshall in town. You still here? 1 minute. 1 minute. New Marshall. There he is. Those are yours, man. That's a nice coin. That's a really nice coin. Congratulations. And thanks everybody for joining me. A little pop-up stream. I have to roll these coins and get to the bank within an hour. So sorry to cut it short. But that's what you gotta do sometimes, right? You may see me later on this evening if nobody's streaming. I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but if there's an open spot, I'm going to take it, get my name out there. God bless everybody, and I'll see you all later. Thanks for stopping by.